Hi everyone, Mrs. Martinez here. Right now we're looking at a practice sheet for Google Drawing. So this sheet's going to help you learn some different techniques in Google Drawing, and this is where you practice. So there are 9 tasks before you, and I'm going to get you started and show you each one so that then you can take this and open this in your Google Classroom and complete this assignment on your own. So here we go. The first task we have is use the line tool. You're going to draw a vertical line and draw a horizontal line. So this is our line tool. And if I don't see this, I'm going to click this drop down and click on line. So this is our line tool. When I click, it makes a line. So the line always comes out diagonal, and now I need to move it to make a vertical line. So these circles here, I'm going to left click and drag so that I'm getting a nice straight vertical line. When I click off to the side, I can see that vertical line I've just made. Now I'm going to do that a second time. So I'll click back on the line tool, click right in my box, and I need to draw a horizontal line. So I'll go right over that circle, and I will left click and drag to make my circle, or to make my horizontal line. So right now I've got 2 horizontal and vertical lines in my box. So this first task is done. The point of this worksheet is to just show you how to use these tools. So it's going to be some simple shapes and lines in each box. So our second task is use the curve tool. Draw a wavy line and draw a shape. Now some of these tasks might be a little trickier than others, and I go pretty quickly because I'm used to this program. I've used it before, right? If you get stuck, you can always stop the video, rewind it, replay it, watch it 100 times, whatever you need to do, okay? So I'm gonna use my curve tool. The curve tool can be found in this same line. So I'm gonna click that drop-down menu, and I'm gonna click on curve. So my first task is to draw a wavy line. When you're using the curve tool, every click you make with your mouse takes your line in a different direction. So I'm going to talk you through my clicks as I make them. So click, 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 double click. So that double click ended my wavy line. So you can see I had a whole bunch of clicks in there. If you make a mistake, you can click undo. I want that back, so I'm going to click redo. But if you make that mistake, that undo button is always there. Now I'm going to, this black arrow is our selection tool. I'll just kind of click off to the side so you can see my wavy line. Now I'm going to draw a shape with my wavy line tool. So I've clicked on that wavy line. When you're drawing a shape, that shape needs to be closed. So my first click and my last click need to be in the same spot. If they are not in the same spot, then I did not draw a shape. So when I ended this line over here, I double clicked. As you're getting used to this tool, you might end up double clicking when you didn't mean to. If you do that and you're trying to draw a shape, then you will have to start over. So let me get my shape going. So I'm going to click, 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 and then see how that line kind of connected itself. Click. So there's my shape that I have just drawn. All right. Now I'm going to move on to the Polyline tool. And for this one, we're going to draw a zigzag line and a geometric shape. So this line tool is in the same drop-down menu. I'm going to click it, click on Polyline. And when I click, 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 double click. And that double click ended my line. So in this case, it actually filled with a color, which I don't want. I just wanted a plain line. So if it happens to do that, it's still selected right now. I can go up to this paint bucket, which is fill color, click it, and click transparent. And that'll take away any color that I had and just leave my line. So I'm going to click off to the side. To do that, I need to get my selection arrow, click off to the side. so I can see what I've done here. And now I want to draw a geometric shape. A geometric shape is typically a shape with a name. So like square, triangle, rectangle, diamond. I'm going to go ahead and just draw a rectangle. So I'll click that drop down menu, go back to my Polyline tool, and I'm going to click, 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 click. And remember, my first and last click needed to be together at the same point. And I guess this isn't a very good rectangle, but I got my flat sides, so you get the point there, right? All right, so let's go up to our next task. Our next task is use the Scribble tool, draw a line, and draw a shape. So same drop-down menu. The Scribble tool is exactly how it sounds. Whatever line I make, it's free drawing. So whatever line I make is what it's going to look like. So if I just go in and left click and drag, and then I let go, that's my Scribble tool, okay? Let's draw a shape. Now shape is a lot trickier because just like the curve tool and the polyline tool, your first click and your last click have to end in the same spot. So I'm going to click and I'm holding down my click and I'm dragging right now. And so you can see I didn't end in the same spot. So if I wanted to fill that, like let's see, I'll make it a little bit larger just so you can see that my lines, see right there, it's really tiny, but you can see that they're technically not in the same spot. So I can't really fill this with a color. That'll make sense in a couple minutes. I want you to know how to use the Scribble tool, but it's not a tool we'll be using often. So we can kind of just keep that in the back of our head that it's tricky to make that first and last points meet, okay? Now let's go to this next task. Use the shape tool to show 3 different kinds of shapes. So if I click on shape, there's 4 different areas, okay? I'll go to shape and I will just do a simple heart. And to do that, I'm gonna left click and drag until it's the size I want it. And I've just made my heart, okay? I'm gonna keep going and go to arrows. Oops. And I will click this arrow, left click and drag. And now I've got an arrow. If I want to resize any shape that I've made, when it's selected and it's got these anchor boxes, I can use a corner box to left click and drag until it's the shape I want it. Or I can use the upper box to kind of squish it together. And again, when I'm doing this, I'm left clicking and dragging. So left click and drag. Notice what my mouse is doing. When I go right over it, I see my mouse change. So I'm left clicking and dragging, and I'm gonna leave that arrow. Let's get one more shape. I'll click on my shape tool. If I click call out and choose this, I can have these call out bubbles. The yellow arrow, if I go right over it and I see my mouse change to this cursor, I can move the point that is where I guess the talking is coming from. Left clicking and dragging just to make this a little larger. So that's how we're going to change our shapes. Now we're going to go to the box underneath. We're going to draw a shape. So you can draw your shape using any one of the line tools we learned, or you can make your shape. I'm going to go ahead and make my shape, and I'm going to do a circle. When I make a circle, if I want my circle to stay a circle, I'm going to hold down Shift on my keyboard and left click and drag until it's the size I want it, okay? And if I want to move that circle or any shape, I'm gonna watch my mouse, and as soon as I see those 4 arrows, I can left click and drag to move my shape. And when I release, my shape stays. Okay, these directions say make the fill color purple, make the border color black, change the border weight to 4. So I've got this selected. I'm going to go to fill color, which is this paint bucket. I'll click it and I'll choose a purple. The next step is to make the border color black. So if I go up to border color, which is this pencil icon, click it, choose black. And then lastly, I'm going to change the border weight, which is the outline around the circle, to 4. This is the border weight, so when I click on it and change it to 4, I'll click off to the side so we can see the work that I've just done. So everything I just did to that purple circle, you could do to any lines, any shapes, anything we've already done. So if you want to experiment a little more, feel free to go in, make sure those directions are followed in the box. But if you want to change some colors and some weights, feel free to do that. Okay, the next task, make a text box and type a sentence. So the text box is right here. I'm going to click it. I'm going to left click, drag, and then release. And I am going to type a sentence. You can type anything, of course, school appropriate. So I've just typed my sentence. That was my task. And I'll click off to the side, and there we go. If I click back on that to select it, I've got my text box, anchor boxes, so I can left click and drag if I ever want to make my text box smaller. You can see I've just changed it a little. Left click, drag, release. So you have that option too. Next step, select all of the text in this text box, change the font style, change the font color, and change the size. So I've got my selection tool still chosen, and I'm going to left click and then drag. So I'm going to click and drag to highlight all that text in blue. And now I'm going to change the font style, which can be found right here. And I will change it to School Bell. So you can look through and change all these different types, okay? Then I'm going to change the font color. The font color is the letter A with the text color underneath. Right now it's black. I'm going to change it to neon green and then change the font size. Right now it's 14. I'm going to change it to 24. If it's at size 24, it's going into the next box a little. So if I need to change my text box, I move my mouse till I see these 4 arrows, left click, drag, and I've just made sure that all my text fits in my text box. All right, and our last Google Drawing task is in this bottom right corner. For this task, we're going to bring an image into the document. So we're going to go to Insert, we're going to go to Image, search the web, and click. When we click on that, we get a Google search. So the search term we're going to use is red apple. I'll click that. And now I'm getting a whole bunch of pictures of apples. I could scroll down if I need to, but I've got a whole bunch. So I can choose any one of these, and I will choose this one. So I click it, and then I'll click Insert, and I brought my apple image in. It's huge, and it's covering all my hard work. So a couple things are going to happen. It has these anchor boxes. If it doesn't, click the black arrow and click on the picture. That will select the picture. I'm going to go over one of the anchor boxes and make sure my mouse does this. And I'm going to left click and drag and then release when it's small enough to fit. But it's still not small enough to fit. So I'm going to left click and drag and make it just small enough to fit. So my tasks are done. Obviously, I ran through this quickly because I know the program. It's going to take you a bit longer, but here are these 9 tasks that will help you get started on all your Google Drawing projects. Enjoy!